Okay, here we are again. Are you amped to work on your WordPress website? I am. Okay. So in our previous video, we were building out the header and understanding some of the features of Elementor, widgets, colors, styling. In this video, I want to go a little bit further in depth into styling the header and also talk about the global styling, which is a pretty new feature in Elementor Pro, and basically it allows you to style certain elements across your whole website. So if you've worked with themes before, this usually happened, in the back end, and this is, I guess a little back end if you want to call it that. But you'll be able to see the changes as you do them in Elementor. So if that doesn't make sense to you, let's just jump right in, okay? So here we are back in the dashboard of WordPress. We're at our YWAM Leon. Hola, mis amigos. This website. And so what we're going to do is we're going to load back up our header. So we just go to templates. There's nothing here because I'm in the wrong one. I go to theme builder. There we are. So in theme builder, this will be where all your templates land, or you can just go specifically to header and it's there because you only have one. So what we're going to do is say edit with Elementor right here. Click on this button. Here we go. Okay, and another page I actually want to open. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this tab here. The other page, little quick tip. If you want to get out of this editor, and you're like, how do I get back to my dashboard? Just click this little hamburger menu and go to exit to dashboard. Boom, so we're there. And so what I'm going to do is load up this page, which is just a random post actually, sorry, gotta use the right naming system. So this is a post, just filler content, and I'm going to say edit with Elementor. You can actually I'll just click it. Okay, we're going to click that. Okay, so I'm going to first set up the global styling and show you how to do that. So here's the page. I put a button on here. You have different size headers, things like that. You can edit the text either right here if you want, or right here if you want, however you want. And so just some sort of samples of different, you got a lot of links and things like that. Really you only need one to show you what the styling is going to do. Okay, so say we want to change the entire font. What the font I've been using for YWAM Leon is this font here, which if I go back to my Adobe Illustrator, I can look at the font. What I use, I try to stick to Google fonts because they're free and they're preloaded into Elementor. I think at least most of them. So this is called Martel Sans. So it's a sans serif font that's kind of more modern, a little cool. So we're going to try and add that as our default font. And you can do that here, or let's go back. You can do theme style. This is the new section. And this gives you a little more control over everything, including buttons and things like that together. I think they're going to do away with these pretty soon and just have theme style and build out this. So if I click here, theme style. Okay, so you see you have some options here. You have background, typography, buttons, form fields, which I can throw a form in there just to see it, images. And you can do each one, if you click it, has a lot of different options. But we get this little notice here that says in order to use it, you have to turn off the default themes, colors, and fonts, and to go to the settings page. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to click on this. I'll just click and drag it up here to a new tab real quick. And so you see this, disable default colors, disable default fonts. We'll click click Save Changes. Okay, we've done it. I believe I can still work on these different things. So what I'm going to do is change the typography to the font, Martel Sans. Right here, as you can see, I drop down typography, family, and I'm going to type this in. Okay, there's our Martel Sans. And as you can see, that font just changed. This font is not changing, and I'm wondering if we refresh the page, maybe it'll start changing. Let's do that. Okay, so let's go back to global theme style right there, typography, Martel Sans, there it is, and now all these are Martel. If I go like this, back to default, boom, they all change. So that's a global style. It'll basically trickle down to all the other fonts that have not been, I guess, overridden by specific styling on that element or header or whatever it may be. So let's just stick with this. Martel Sans, we got it here. Sizing is okay. We'll just leave it at that for now. Text color. So this is going to change the default text color everywhere. So if I do this color, you can see, besides the links, it's changing all the text color. So we'll just do all black for now. We can change that later. And then you have this paragraph spacing as well. So that's going to be any between paragraphs and things like that. If you want a little more spacing, which I am a big fan of spacing between anything, give your design breathing room. Do not try and stack things. People can scroll, it's okay. They can scroll, and it actually helps them digest the content better if you give a little bit of padding on your content. So just a little tip. Please put some breathing room. Please. Okay, so you can do the same thing as you did with the typography here, the general typography. This is just for the link, and as you can see, as you hover over the links, they change colors. So, so what I'm going to do is actually pull in some of the colors that I liked. And this is another little caveat, but if you don't know what colors to use, there's tons of tools online to choose palettes. This one's called coolers.co. And the cool thing is, if you hit the space bar, it changes. And then you're like, oh, I like that one. And dealing with color in web, usually you're going to be dealing with hex numbers, which hex means 6. So there's 6 numbers, and they're not just numbers, hex numbers and letters to create colors. And that gives you multiple combinations of colors with depending on the letter and the number. There's a few other sort of systems that you can use. RGB values, or RGBA, which is red, green, blue, and alpha, which is the opacity of that color. And that's what your screen uses. So if you take out a magnifying glass and you look on your screen, you're going to see actually a combination of differing levels of red, green, and blue to create the colors you're seeing. So you're actually seeing 3 colors a lot of ways, a lot of different tints of 3 colors, and they're really small into a pixel. So that's a little bit of color theory for you. My major in university was printing, so I had to learn a lot about color theory, but that's a whole nother story. So we'll just continue with the site. All right, so what we're gonna do is pull in some colors that I created. Here's my logo, and here's some colors. So this is the 2 main colors we'll deal with, and then these are, a lot of times I like to do a brighter color off of it and a darker color. So you can see, here's a brighter one, here's a darker one. And this just helps with buttons, with rollovers, just so there's a little bit of variation. Depending on the color of the background, you might think, that's a little too bright. Go to the little bit less bright one, and then you have an option to, for like a hover over, you can use a different shade of that color. Going from one color to a completely separate color on hovers isn't necessarily a great idea. I like more subtle. More subtle is better. They can see it, it works, it looks good, doesn't shock them. And I think that'll give a little better user experience. So let's get those hex values. In Adobe Illustrator, what I'm going to do is create, this button's going to be like more like a highlight button, but then I can default it in, or I can change it, not default it, I can override the styling if I want to on other buttons. But for now, I'm just going to do a more like pop color one, which is this color right here. So we'll start with this as the default color of the background of the button. Okay, and so here's my color picker in Illustrator. But like I said, if you're choosing a color here on the browser, these are the numbers right there. You can select the color and then paste it in. So what we're going to do right here is, there's the link style, which we're working on. This is the normal setting, so we're going to pop this in right here. And then I'm going to actually add it and pull it over here. Number one. And then I'm going to get rid of some of these greens that will not be a part of my palette. These blues. The grays are kind of nice, and the black and white are kind of nice to keep every once in a while if you need them, especially white and black, I guess. So we have that color, and now if you hover over, there's nothing. So what we're going to do is create a hover style. So we'll change this one and grab, let's go to the brighter one. Sound good? Copy it. That's Command V. Sorry, Command C. And then Command V or Control V, Control C on a PC, I think. All right, so as you see, there's a little subtle hover over right there. That's pretty nice, isn't it? All right, so these are H1, H2, H3, H4, as you can see. What does that mean? There's different header styles, and there's a lot of different theories about this and when to use them, but H1 is generally your page title, and that's it, just one H1. H2 you can do as much as you want, or H3, depending on the hierarchy of the page, of the information you want to display. So I mean, the key to creating websites, you know, especially if you're doing a heavy text website, is allowing the content to be digestible, and creating a hierarchy. So here's the header, here's a subhead, here's even a sub-subhead. That's exactly what these are. And H1, H2, those are actually the tag names of the element. So if you actually went in and saw this page, let's get real geeky in here. Okay, we're gonna look at some of this code right now, just for the fun of it. You can see right here, this is the H2 tag. And this, I believe, should be an H1. Yes. So there's an H1 tag right there. So that's where it's coming from, that kind of nomenclature, naming system. All right, so there you go. And then if you really want to get geeky, this is some of the CSS, or cascading style sheet information, that was created by Elementor at this moment. And what we're doing is manipulating the cascading style sheet on a global setting, and it's cascading because it trickles down just like a waterfall cascades. You know, it goes down, 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 down to all the other elements, unless you override that with a new style. Anyways, sorry, that went really deep. But what we're going to do now that we got our typography and you're understanding H1, H2, H3, sorry, we can actually, I got a little sidetracked on that. So the color here, we can change that. These ones are pretty simple. If we wanted them to be a different color, there you go, H1 is changed. And so each one you can actually create a different color, a different style, different font if you wanted. Say for the H1 only, we want to go with something kind of wild, like that. There you go. Boom, it did it for us. And when we're done with our theme style, we can hit update, exit out of here, and continue to edit the page. And because I hit preview changes a while back, that's what this button does, the little eye. It opens a new tab automatically. It shows you what you've done. And so when you do that, and then you hit update, and you still have this page open, what it does is it actually refreshes this page so you don't have to. And then you can see your changes automatically. It's kind of a nice little feature. I'm going to change that font back. I'm not a big fan at this moment. Maybe we can do something fun with the H1, but we'll do that a little further down the road. So let's go back, theme styles, typography. We'll just do that. That little return circle goes back to default if you click it. All right, let's just do the button real quick so you kind of get a feel for it. There's a lot more options under here. You can do border radius. Say we wanted a more like pill style, do like 30. Text color, you know, we can go white. Like I was saying, we can pull this in. Oh, I didn't pull in my other color, did I? So here's the background color, and then if we hover it, just like the links, you can do that. Okay, I think those are different. Yeah, so that's the little lighter or the brighter color in the palette. So under hover, we need to change the text color, keep that at white as well. There we go. I'm not actually sure why this text is looking a little higher, but we can actually add whatever padding we want to each one of these. So if I just do, let's see, we have that, and then add a little bit more on top. Do 20, 20, maybe do 30, 30, 30. There we go. And say we want to make it every time uppercase. Under typography, under buttons, transform, uppercase. Boom. On the letter spacing, you can add that. Let's just leave it how it is though. So there you go. That is the global styles right there in a nutshell. Let's see. You know what? I'm just going to stop there. After this, we'll work a little bit on the header styling, but that was enough right there just to show you a bit about how to add global styling to your page so that you can set yourself up for success later on and you're not constantly restyling your pages, or sorry, your buttons, your H1 tags, all those things, your text. It has it already in the global settings. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know, comments. I'm here for you. And we'll just keep on rolling. Sound good? Peace.